What would you advise me, right? This is what I'm saying to you. I can't live at Gaunts anymore, Rob. This place is just too detached from the outside world. And I have to feel more engaged with the world in order to feel that I'm doing something good in my life, Rob. Help. What would you say to me if I said that?
I'd say, too detached. I think if you give this place a chance, you'll find that maybe it's just your habits that are making you feel that it feels detached, because being here involves a process of just readjusting to a different kind of life.
I go to Wimbledon and the people, they just look mental, and I just feel like I don't know, why should they be looking like aliens to me? We're the aliens. They're living normal lives. They're shopping, buying nice things for themselves. I might want to start my own family. I can't start my own family here, there's no money. You need money for children. So what shall I do? Shall I leave? Can you support our children, Rob?
There's happiness beyond money.
What do you mean?
Do you think sometimes it's money that brings unhappiness into your life?
Lately, yes.
So the less it plays a role in your life, the happier you might be?
Yes, that's very true, Rob. Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
So you're going to stay now then?
Yeah. You raised a very good point there. You won me over. I'm staying. No, I don't think I can. Well, not that I can remember anyway. I've always thought I was happy, but then I feel quite like I was quite blinded. Because you think that you're happy when you've got a car and you've got money to go and buy new clothes and you watch TV and go out whenever you want and go to the pub and stuff. But now that those things aren't here, you can realise, well, I'm actually more happier than I was then, without those things. So, yeah.
Do you think you might say that this is the time spent here is the happiest years of your life?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's sorted me out, hasn't it? It's sorted me out so much. Made me into a much happier person, and I can be me. And there's no pressure to be anything other than me.
Seems to be lots of issues, I think, where it just seems to make more sense to live in a community. Like one thing I think of is bringing up a child. Often it's associated with a lot of pressure now to make a lot of kind of sacrificing. And I think a lot of those sacrifices would be much more balanced if people were bringing up a child in a more kind of communal area. So, because like a couple maybe would find it easier to spend time together because there's people around that be able to look after their kids. And I just think it'd be a lot easier for people to share responsibilities rather than people living in all these little small units. And it just seems sad that the basic process of bringing up a child, I think, is given a downside just because of the way society is organised in a silly way.
Doesn't give the child the same, what's the word, like a child growing up in a house with two people, like it's very different to a child growing up with a mixture of people, different opinions, different types of people, different ages, you know, that child's going to get a more rounded experience and be more open-minded more easily, rather than a child who just follows what their parents say maybe and doesn't have the experience of all the other people. I mean, they might do to an extent, but it's not going to be the same.
There just seems too much pressure is put on specific relationships just because of the way people's lives are organised, because everything's too compartmentalised. Sometimes like people grow up like blaming their parents for certain aspects of the way they've grown up, whereas if it was more rounded and there's more opportunity to be influenced by different people, that wouldn't happen so much, I don't think.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think it's more rich, isn't it? If you've got more input from, like you say, a wide variety of age groups and gender, etc. But I do respect the individuality and, like, you know, being able to speak your mind about something that you know that might be. I wouldn't want to be in a community where you didn't feel you could sort of be individual and think, you know, not be able to talk about something or think of something different or welcome different ideas. I think it's important for me to embrace, be inclusive rather than exclusive, as long as it works, you know, for everyone in the community. It's like trying to find like signs, or listening to everything that somebody's saying, and you know, there might be something happen, and like a photo, like a picture on the wall or something, and people say, "Oh, that's really special to me. Maybe I'm supposed to be here," or things like that. People are really searching for if this is the right place for them, or something like a picture could. And maybe one or two other things. Somebody might talk about something, and then it might mean something really significant to them, and then they think, oh, maybe this is where I'm meant to be.
Do you know this idea of taking it out of the world?
Yeah.
Would you say you were doing that in any kind of fundamental capacity during your time in Greece?
Yes. Yeah, I think I was, because I suppose in different ways, in that I think until I was ready to go back out and have that strength, I suppose, you know, because I'd got very tired during those first years when I had the retreat centre, and I wasn't ready, you know, I didn't have the energy actually to give and share and feel like I was part of a growing light or whatever you choose to call it. There were things I really need to deal with in myself. You know, I've had a lot of anger in my life, you know, and I really felt it was an issue I really needed to come to terms with, you know, and sort of like accept where that came from in me and actually deal with it, because it wasn't the way that I wanted to be. You know, I didn't want to be angry, and it took me a long time to fathom sort of where that had come from maybe in my life. Or what I did to myself, what situations I put myself in that would then make me really angry and frustrated. So actually I completely identify with other people who get angry and frustrated in life, because I know exactly what I did to myself really.
So you're in the right place then?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not frustrated at all. There's nothing's frustrating here, absolutely nothing. It's so easy. So I needed that time. Because until I had come to terms with that, like 90%, probably not 100%, I didn't feel ready, to then go out and be supportive, learn, share, whatever, because I felt that there was something in myself that I hadn't really dealt with, I suppose.
I see.
Probably a year before I left Greece, I knew really that it was time to move on. You know, I'm not very good at I don't want to plan where I want to go. I just know that it's time to move on, and then I sort of it just comes. The universe is very kind to me, and that it like puts the right opportunities in my path, really. But I got all these cats, and I found it really difficult to actually leave them. I still do. And I suppose the life I had there, really, it was it was very relaxed. It was beautiful area to live in. But there was obviously something in me that knew that there was something more that I wanted to do with my life, really. So, it took me almost a year, I suppose, to actually make that decision.
I think sometimes you've just got to trust your own messages to yourself. In fact, that's probably the secret to having a good, healthy, long life, is to listen to yourself and the right bits of yourself, and to recognise the bits of yourself that get in the way, that stop you from what Richard says about being, the most beautiful sense of who you are.
I knew it was the right thing to do, and I am very good at following my instincts, but sometimes it takes me just a little while to, sort of, oh no, I don't want to do that, no!
That's exactly
Don't make me do that!
I think that I realise now, or for some time, that I was started off living in a certain way in culture, like you said, moved out of it, and for Wendy and I suppose we went to France, had children, it was all continuing there, and then went more towards the, what should we say, the heart, or living in, you could almost call it an altered state of consciousness, or certainly something that felt very different to what was normal. And then I began applying that into our lives. We began applying it by buying a little centre and doing it up, and offering people to come there for nothing, which nobody came, interestingly enough. You offered it, we contacted charities and all sorts of things, said, look, we don't actually want any money, we just want to be serving and doing something. And people couldn't understand that. We'd done about, we bought this place and we'd done it up, and we already had people visiting, and we were carrying on to do it up. And we'd done it for about 2 years, and I turned around to Wendy and I said, actually, this is just a stepping stone to something else. Because like Wendy's going, what are you talking about? We just put all our savings and energy into this place, and we'd done everything as best as we could. It really was nice, and people were coming, and there's me saying, no, we're going to go, and this is just a stepping stone. So it's similar to your experience. I don't feel I want to be forced into a certain method because it works for somebody else. I want to be free to choose. So I think that's something we've got here, which is quite rare as well. And we're not shoving them information, saying you must have all this information, just to say we're not forcing anything on anybody.
But I think, you just always attract the right people, don't you? You attract people when they're at the right stage or whatever.
I think people can sense it. Like you say, when they're ready to sense it, when they're willing to sense it, not ready. When they're just willing and open to love or to new ideas, which are really old ideas. In fact, they're not even ideas. We're going downhill now, rapidly.
Very pretty.
They look very matching.
Pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. 5 bits. It's challenging to get to 5, I tell you. What a chance of someone being in the right place? Pretty unlikely.